Hello lovely people and welcome to day 241 of 365, my year of full-time chess. I'm currently rated 1615 on chess.com and I am currently rated 1581 on Over the Board English Chess Federation. I played 2 games recently, lost against an 1834, won against a 1478. If you like this video, please click the like button. If you have not yet subscribed and you want to support me in some way, then that would be amazing if you'd click subscribe. And if you are going the extra mile, take this video, share it with a friend who likes chess.com. Chess.com? Just chess in general. Weird. And that would make a big difference to me. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm going to play a rapid game today because it's Monday. Monday is rapid game day. Tuesday is weird other creative video day. Thursday, another rapid game. Friday, live streaming. Saturday, weekly review. You're going to get 5 videos a week. If I don't give you 5 videos in a week, you can shout at me. Let's go. What I'm focusing on, I'm playing against Imano 5plo. Great name. What I'm focusing on in this game, and in every game from now on, is trying to keep a track of all the relationships between the pieces, both mine and my opponents, so that when I come to a unique and interesting, like an important and interesting moment, I have already got all these relationships. I know that this queen is aligned with this rook or this the king on the diagonal or something like that. I know that this pawn is only defended by one pawn, and I know that this rook is currently undefended, etc. I need to have all the different relationships and keep that up to date. That's my goal at the moment. So even in 15 plus 10 games. And to talk less, obviously. So they push. Defends this pawn. Defends this square. I think I'm just going to castle. I don't see any reason not to. The only thought I had was maybe to play h3. But because this knight's not here already, I can play h3 a move later. If I want to, but if I'm nervous about this. So if I play h3 now, I lose this pawn because it's now being attacked. So I shouldn't do that. I'm either going to play rook e1 to defend the pawn or knight c3. I don't know if I want my knight on c3 though. I suppose it's interesting to me, like, do I want my knight to come out this way? I'm not sure. Yeah, I think I'll put my rook on e1. I want my rook on e1 anyway. I don't know if I want my knight on c3. Yep, okay, so that was the concern that I was mentioning about playing h3 before. That's fine. I don't think I could have done it any other way. I had to defend this pawn. So I could come back with the bishop because I am a bit concerned about this. I think their idea is just to pile up on this pinned piece. Or if I played c3, for example, I think they could just come this way, and then this bishop's also hanging. The good thing about if they come this way is I can come back here without them taking this bishop. So if I play c3, they can't come here because in a line where I just develop, they can play knight d4. If I come back with the bishop to e2, then they could just take that bishop and then they're up the bishop pair. This pawn's no longer defended to keep a track of everything. It's just difficult to do this like actively, but I need to get into the practice of it. So what's most important? I suppose I could, no, that doesn't work. I was going to say I could play d4, but actually if I play d4 now, they can just take it because my knight is pinned. I think I'm going to play c3. I don't like the idea of the knight coming in this way. And, okay. So this is now a weaker point. This bishop is sort of relatively low on squares, so if I pushed and pushed, I could win the bishop this way. Although, no, I couldn't because the bishop is attacking this pawn at that point, so I don't see any reason not to get on with development. This stops this, it stops this as well. Well, it keeps it. Black still can't play to d4 with a knight, so even if this takes, then my queen is defending it now because this pawn is out the way. This is still defended by my rook, nothing changed there. Ah, yes, of course. Good point. See, that would have been a good moment to say, okay, but at the end of that line, this pawn is defended by 2 pieces, attacked by 1, and are either of those 2 pieces like susceptible to being, are they like reliable defenders? And in this case, no, they're not. This one is not. So Black loses the bishop pair, but either destroys my pawn structure in front of my king, which I'm considering, that's why I haven't taken yet, or wins a central pawn. But I am considering it. This g takes f3, because I can just come over with the rook quite simply at some point. If I take with the queen and the knight takes on d4, I can attack the knight, but I can't. I'd like to be able to come to b3, but no, it doesn't. That doesn't work. Obviously, the knight would just take, but it wouldn't even put pressure on the knight. I'm going to take with the pawn. It weakens my king side, but I think I can bolster my king side with enough of my pieces. I know I'm pretty underdeveloped at this point, but I've got a really nice center, and I think I can keep control of the center whilst also like protecting my king. Okay, I think I'm not going to take, because there's no need to just ruin my pawn structure completely. This isn't a ruined pawn structure, but it's just weak around the king. If I took, I think that would be a ruined pawn structure. They could just take back, or even just take back with the knight, and their pawn structure is perfectly fine, and mine would be completely in disarray at that point. I'm just thinking of playing bishop b5, putting pressure on this knight. So bishop b5 takes. That's the problem. Yeah, so if bishop b5, they can take, and I'm going to lose this pawn. Although they aren't threatening that pawn. So bishop b5 and takes, I can take back because I am pinning this knight. So they're not attacking this twice as it looks like they are. So if they try and push my bishop around, I think I'll just have to take. And then they have an isolated pawn, and I have a pretty strong center still. So I'm going to do that. I think that's important. If I went to b3, for example, then takes, and I'm either losing that pawn or losing that pawn. All right, what can I notice about the position? So they are still yet to castle. They're still 2 moves away from castling. This bishop is defending this pawn at the moment, and when it develops, unless they just fianchetto, but when it develops, that pawn will be hanging, or at least it'll be unprotected, sorry. There's tension in the center. I've got a pawn to back up this pawn, but this is a very weak pawn, or at least I think it's pretty weak. And the queen's going to be eyeing it up in a second, potentially, and this knight, if this king can get out of the way, or if they can get rid of my bishop, this knight is also attacking that pawn. So I think defending that pawn is a priority. I'm underdeveloped. Yeah, okay, so the bishop does come out. I can move the rook, which I don't really want to do. I'd like my rook staying on the back rank so it can come over to here in a minute. So I think I've got 2 options. I've got 3 options, but I don't want to block in my bishop at this point. I think the fact that I'm behind in development means I don't want to be delaying my queenside development. So I think these are my only 2 options. Okay, so I went with knight c3 because I don't want to be blocking the line of sight of my queen to this pawn. So if bishop d2, interesting. Okay, knight's defended once and attacked twice, so that's urgent. This is now attacked by the queen, and the defender is unreliable, but not to a check, which is normally what would happen here. So this wouldn't be a check, so I could also throw in this. An interesting move here would be queen to a4, because if bishop takes c3, bishop takes c6, check, pawn takes, probably, because if pawn doesn't take, then they lose the rook. I suppose I would lose the rook. So queen a4, bishop takes c3, bishop takes c6, check. If they move the king, then I think I would just take back with the pawn. But if then they're uncastled, and I think, so queen a5, bishop takes, check, move the king, pawn takes bishop, and now this queen's undefended, so she needs to do something. Okay, I like that, but what's the first move? So I said that the first move was bishop takes knight, but that's not necessarily what's going to happen. So queen a5, queen takes queen, bishop takes queen. Yeah, I like that. In that line, I'm happy as well. So if queen takes queen here, I don't mind just taking back, and I've still got a pin, an absolute pin on this knight. It can't move, whereas this is a relative pin, and I can. And I'm not expecting them to take, because then they'd be down another bishop. They'd be like not down a bishop, but they wouldn't have a bishop here. So this pawn is now hanging in the event that black castles kingside. Okay, so they have castle kingside, so this pawn is now hanging. If I defend it like this, then they could take this pawn and I would have to give up my rook, but I think I'd be actually happy to do that. So if the pawn, if knight takes pawn, knight takes knight, I'm up a knight, down a pawn. Bishop takes rook, bishop takes rook. I'm up 2 pieces, and they're up a rook and a pawn. The other thing I could do is go here, but then they have this and then this. So I don't want to do that. I could just take this knight, takes back. They've got an isolated pawn I could go after. I think that might be the best option. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. I think that's, given the situation, given that these pawns I couldn't find a way of defending them, I think that's probably the best thing to do. So now I need to find the best places for my pieces. I think my bishop needs to come out next. Not there though, because then this again, that's a problem. There's no way to get out of it with check or anything like that. No discovered attacks. I'm thinking they're going to come here next. So I need to be ready for that. I think I'd like to just kick this bishop maybe here and here, because they're not going to come in like this now. And if they take, then I can take back and reinforce the center. And if they, and I think I'm happy with this isolated pawn. They have 2 isolated pawns, but I wouldn't mind like sharing an isolated A pawn with them if I had this strong trio in the center. I'm gonna do this because now I'm protecting this square and I can get a knight to it quite quickly. Not that quickly, but now I have this. And I can play this next. Not next, because they can attack it, but I can do this. That's not a problem. I think I'm going to play here because I want my other rook to come over to the c file at some point. I'm not going to take the bishop. If I do go to knight to a5, I'm not going to take the bishop. Okay, so they're just sorting out the back rank. I'm just going to apply pressure. I want to come here because I want to be able to control the square in front of this pawn and then take my time to just win it. The bishop can't defend it. The knight can, obviously, although I've just dropped this pawn without really realizing. That's a shame. So I forgot to ask, like, what am I doing? I forgot to remember that this was hanging if I move my knight. They're going to come here, that's my concern. So they want to pile up on this pawn. So they've got 3 on it, and I have got 3 defenders, but it starts with a pawn. I can then take back with the bishop. This takes, this takes. This is now hanging at the end of that, because this rook is has too many jobs at this point. I think I'm going to come here, because I can attack this pawn, although I should have realized that they can just do. I think I'm going to take. I win a pawn. Still down a pawn. If I come here, they have to move the rook. Or they could just push, I suppose, but then takes. If I come here, they can do this again. But I can just do this. I'm going to come here with 1 second left. If they, yeah, so they've got that takes. Again, they've got this, but I can take it this time. I can take it, so that's not an issue. But then if I did take it, yeah, okay. Taking advantage of the fact that the rooks aren't yet connected, so they can't come here, or more likely here. And if they do take, I'm just going to give up, I think, and go here. If they push, I'm quite happy with that. That's fine. They can't push straight away because I'll just take it. And if they come here, then I'm just going to have to come down here. And maybe just walk up and just ask for a draw. But they won't want a draw in this position. They're up 3 pawns. If they try and just save that pawn, I can give checkmate. Okay, yeah, so they can't save the pawn. But they can try stuff, apparently. I think this is just a draw though, unfortunately for them. If I try for checkmate, then they can get out of it like that. If they come in, then I can run. I'm not threatening mate yet because they can take this rook. And I'm not expecting to be threatening mate, really. Well, maybe threatening. Maybe I can expect to threaten mate, but I don't expect they're going to allow me to a position where I can actually give a checkmate. Hello? Hello? And now, so that's fine. That, yeah. You're welcome. Yeah, there's no way I can't actually threaten anything because if I come here, they can, and they threaten this rook. I can just do this, and then they can push. I suppose I could take then, but I'm not threatening to win because then I'm just got a pawn versus pawn. So, and I think this has been repeated. Good game. All right, I will review it and I will come back to you with some reviews, with some analysis. Okay, as you saw, I found it difficult to actually keep track of the relationships during the game. I found it difficult to not just play normally and blunder in a normal way. But I think that I just need to force it. I just need to keep telling myself, okay, give it a go, try to keep in mind, okay, what does that do? What does that move give up? What does the move that they just did? What does the move that they just played give up? So this like removes a defender of the knight. It sounds silly, but like all these things. And eventually I'll get to the point where I don't need to say it all. Firstly, I don't need to say it all explicitly. But secondly, I don't need to say all the unimportant ones. Like, it's good for me to know that this knight only has 1 pawn defender now. It's not actually, no, I need to keep everything actually. Just remove what I just said, scrap it. But I need to keep a track of everything, and then I can use the most important and relevant things as the game progresses. So this pawn only having 1 defender, this rook, is more relevant than this knight only having 1 defender, this pawn. Because it's being attacked, it's in the center of the board, it's more likely to be attacked, etc. So in this position, I didn't like that bishop was there. I think c3 is a reasonable move. In this position, actually, no. Let's go back. I was talking as I castled. The castling was the mistake. So as soon as the d6 move is made, I should just play d4. They can't. Well, I suppose they can come straight in with this, but I believe that I would just push at this point. Now, if they take back, I'm not exactly sure what I would do, but I could push and then take a pawn. So yeah, I don't think they wouldn't just bring the knight out. They would most likely just take, that's how it's typically done, and then maybe take this knight, but possibly just leave the knight in the center of the board. But anyway, so that's what I should have done. Pawn to d4, break in the center straight away, ask that c pawn a question. and then I castled, and it allowed knight f6 because there's no tension in the center. There's no way I can be playing this move, and now I'm a bit behind. So I'm playing rook e1, and now this coming in is annoying. There's just, yeah, I would rather not have to deal with this. I think I dealt with it reasonably well. However, now I just completely missed this idea. Like, it's quite a basic idea. I think it's the kind of thing that I wouldn't always miss. I can blame the new way of thinking because it's making me like, your rating tends to dip when you're learning new things in chess, and I can lean on that a little bit. I can blame that, can't I? Of course. So they take, and if I take back with the queen, I lose this pawn, so I didn't want to do that. I wonder what the best move here is. I wonder what the engine would say. I don't know. I block, and then now I played the queen here. I took a while to think about this. I think that if they do take, and I take here with check, let's say I was talking about them moving the king. They really, looking at it now, I think they can't move the king this way. In fact, I don't think they can move the king at all. So if they move the king here or here, I can give a check. No, it doesn't work. The queen just takes. The queen just takes. So if they move the king here, what would I do? I said I could take the rook in the video, but I can't just take the rook. Can't just take the rook. So how about this is interesting actually. If I take the bishop here, and I did sort of talk about this idea of the queen not being defended. So if I take the bishop, what can black do here? Because now this is a check. It's very complicated, but maybe they can't take my queen because then I'm up a piece in that line. So they can't just take my queen, but they could take this pawn, threaten these, but I can give a check and it defends the rooks. Okay, so I think they wouldn't be able to do any of this. I think this basically turns off this line where they move the king. And if here, then I can't give a check because then they retrieve this bishop. I can do that. I can definitely do that, but I wouldn't be winning anything overall, I don't think so. If I take and they take back, I can just take this and then go here. And I suppose I'm up a pawn. So I'm up a pawn. And I've got the bishop pair. So it's not bad. But if they go here... Yes. Okay, that's the end. Yeah, I'll leave that as it was. So I don't know exactly what the best thing to do here. I'll just have a quick look at the engine. In fact, let's just see what the engine says. So I should have just defended this. But I thought, what if they just take? Because I still have the check. Because, yes, I still have the check. That's why. Okay, so I was concerned about this defender being removed so they could take this bishop. But I have the intermezzo check, which is the saving grace. But I played here, which isn't a good move. If the computer's just asking them to castle here, or take my queen. Well, they did take my queen, so they've got that going for them. But what happens if they castle? So I thought this is good. So if they castle, I take the knight, take back. The problem is if I take here, I'm not doing anything. I'm not attacking this rook anymore because they castled and their rooks are connected. So this pressure on this knight is going to end up with me losing a pawn at least. So let's just see. Rook comes over. Oh, it's asking me. I just trapped my own queen. No, I didn't. No, I just lost a knight though. So if I come here, they take the knight. And if I take the queen, then they recapture. But why is taking the queen the best move for them? They take the queen. I take the queen. Because of this. They win a rook at the end. Oh, full rook. That's why. Okay, engine off. Thank you very much, engine. You were very helpful. So, in the game, takes. And now it's just a tough spot. I think black should castle kingside here, rather than I think they castled queenside. Or, no, they should have castled queenside, because like this pressure here is a killer. If they castle queenside, what am I doing about this? I've got no defenders on that and 2 attackers. That's the end. Not of the game, but like I can take 1, I suppose. And then if they take back, okay, maybe it's not as bad as I thought. I thought that was pretty much irretrievable. But yeah, they castled kingside, which gave me a little bit of time. I take the knight, and then I just make the. I think I was in a good position here, but then I just forget what I'm doing. Basically, this pawn was defended twice, so it was the safer of the 2 pawns. In one move, I took away 1 defender. The second move, I took away even the X-ray defense. Like even if the bishop moves now, this is not defended by the rook. And then on the third move, I just sacrificed this pawn, unbeknownst to me. Complete sacrifice. So there you go, have it for free. I've got isolated pawns now. 3 big chunky gaps in between these pawns, and that's a big mistake. And I basically am just completely messing up the whole position here. I think I'm I don't know, doing quite well here, like saving it, but it's not like it's just I made a few moves that were all right, and then I just missed here the fact that this take. I kept on thinking they might just push, but I missed that this takes was a check. So I don't know what to do here. Maybe get out of the way, but then this anyway. Oh, it's just not good. It's not good. But I was going to say actually this anyway. Yes, it's probably just completely losing. So yeah, this is. I think it might be drawn. No. So okay. So in this line, there is a line here which goes. This isn't my line. This is a computer line. So in this position, that was a blunder. So that was a blunder. Rook E3 was a blunder because now I've just got perpetual check, or at least, pretty much perpetual check. I don't think they can escape the eventual checks. And all they need to do is get me into this position where here, if I come here, they give a check and then they trade off one of the pairs of rooks, and this is just winning. They've just got 3 extra pawns. Even if I can't even take it in the next move. But yeah, they're winning this endgame. And if I instead go here on this move, then they can give a check, and wherever the king goes, now this rook is defending this pawn, and it means I can't take it. So yeah, they just missed that was a sort of drawing idea, and they went rook e3, which allowed me just to give a check, and it's just evens now. And you saw the rest. So yeah, a lost game that I managed to swindle, and I will continue to try and consider the position, consider all the relationships, and use that to make decisions. But I think it'll be more helpful in the short term, certainly playing longer games, like playing classical games, than playing 15 plus 10 games. Because even with the 10-second increment, you saw how slow I was, and how I basically don't know my openings that well, and that doesn't help. But also, if I'm trying this new thing where I'm keeping a track of everything, it makes me even slower. All right, I hope you're very well. This is Monday. You know what day it is. This is Monday Rapid Games, and I will be back with you tomorrow. All right, speak to you then. Goodbye.